Morning, guys.
Good morning. How's it going?
Morning. Good. How are you?
Councillor, are you intending to continue your...
Councillor, why are you here today, sir?
Excuse me. I'm going to my council meeting. Thank
Why are you here today? What do you have to say to the people of Transcona?
My attorney, Mr. Evan Wright,
What happened as far as the arrest is concerned? Can you tell us about that?
Again, I'd ask you to talk to my attorney.
A defiant Russ Wyatt arrived at City Hall today for his first council meeting since being charged with sexual assault. A move making it clear the city councillor is not taking the mayor's advice to step aside. And despite some tough questions from members of the media, the councillor kept his cool, appearing unfazed by the serious allegations against him. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. All of that played out before the actual council meeting even got underway. CTV's Jeff Keel was at City Hall to witness it all and joins us now live. Jeff, this was anything but business as usual today.
That's right, but the business of council moved ahead anyway, even though a cloud was hanging over the meeting.
Councillor, why are you here today, sir?
Excuse me. I'm going to my council meeting.
Despite pleas for him not to show up, embattled Transcona City Councillor Russ Wyatt arrived for City Council's monthly meeting a day after police announced he'd been charged with drugging and sexually assaulting a man. Wyatt directed all questions to his lawyer.
I'd ask you to talk to my attorney. Thanks, guys.
On Wednesday, the mayor urged Wyatt to step away from office while he deals with the charges. Gillingham reiterated that call again Thursday.
My recommendation is the councillor step away to deal with a serious matter that is before him.
And other councillors also expressed displeasure that Wyatt was there, calling his presence a distraction.
I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Councillor Wyatt. It's just unfortunate that, this incident is sidelining, the news of the day.
Still, the meeting went on as usual, but when Wyatt stood to speak on other issues, City Councillor Cindy Gilroy turned her back to him as a form of silent protest.
Yeah, it's a message.
8 years ago, when Wyatt was charged with sexual assault, a charge which was stayed, Gilroy then pushed for mandatory paid leave for councillors facing serious criminal charges. But it went nowhere over human rights concerns. Now she says council should have the discretion to suspend a member with pay pending the outcome of a criminal matter, a change the province would have to allow for.
I'm very uncomfortable with the situation. I want to make sure I'm making a stance so that I am supporting the many victims out there and the people in the room that maybe do not feel comfortable with the presence.
And while council does have the authority to boot councillors from committees, they can't remove them from office under these circumstances. But voters in Transcona can. This drama surrounding Wyatt comes in an election year.
I think they have to review who they're electing. I mean, this is the second charge that this councillor has had.
On Wednesday, Wyatt's lawyer said his client is innocent. The allegations against Wyatt have not been tested in court, and Wyatt is presumed innocent.
Jeff, did Wyatt respond to any of these calls by the mayor and councillors to step away?
No, we asked him again today if he cared to respond to all of this. He again directed us to his lawyer.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. In spite of the shadow Wyatt's presence may have had on proceedings today, council did still vote on a number of important items. First up, a plan to improve safety on Wellington Crescent went ahead with some amendments.
This amendment puts the simplest and most immediate steps that were left out of the Public Works discussion and the EPC discussion, those immediate steps back in. And that's why it should give this council comfort.
The amended motion directs the Public Service to find a consultant to draw up plans for a permanent bike lane solution for Wellington Crescent using feedback from the public. And while it doesn't include plans for a pilot or interim infrastructure, it will see the speed limit lowered to 40 kilometers an hour on Wellington from Academy Road to River Avenue, along with stretches of River Avenue and Stradbrook Avenue. Another clause, which would have restricted left turns at several intersections, did not pass. And council also voted in favor of a motion to petition the province to amend the Highway Traffic Act and allow it to set its own default speed limit. It's the first step before any future conversation can happen about whether or not to lower speed limits and by how much. The Premier has indicated the city can already lower speed limits if it wants. However, it would require street-by-street changes with new signage, which would cost millions of dollars, something the mayor says he's not interested in doing. Sentencing for the man who just pled guilty to manslaughter in the 2007 killing of a Manitoba Métis woman is being held over until tomorrow. 44-year-old Kevin Q was set to be sentenced today in the death of 24-year-old Crystal Saunders. However, a judge ordered it be postponed until tomorrow, as Saunders' mother indicated she wanted to enter a victim impact statement but didn't have one prepared. Q was arrested in 2024 and was originally charged with second-degree murder. The case had gone cold for years, but court heard a break came in 2015 after Q was convicted in a sexual assault case, which led to his DNA being entered into a national bank. Both the Crown and defense are recommending a 12-year sentence. We now know what brought Winnipeg police to a house in Osborne Village yesterday morning. Roslyn Road was closed by Osborne Street as the Guns and Gangs teamed up with the tactical support team to execute a pair of search warrants on a home and a vehicle. They found a loaded handgun, a small amount of ammunition, more than $1,200, as well as heroin, cocaine, fentanyl, and methamphetamine. The illicit drugs have an estimated street value of more than $503,000. A 37-year-old man is charged with possession of a scheduled substance for the purpose of trafficking, as well as possession of a firearm and possession of property obtained by crime under $5,000. A 36-year-old woman was also facing drug trafficking charges. 2 other people, though, were released without any charges being laid. Research has shown social engagement can help reduce the risk of stroke, heart disease, depression, and dementia, which is why social prescribing has taken off around the world, including right here in Manitoba. It's an initiative to connect seniors to a wide range of resources and programs in their communities. CTV's Daniel Helmerson explains.
Kathy Domingo lives alone and doesn't have a lot of family around. She says her quiet life was starting to feel quite lonely. And that was before she was diagnosed with a visual impairment.
And after that happened, I became isolated and withdrawn and very depressed. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to cook or clean.
Domingo shared how she was feeling with her doctor, who took a different approach than expected. It's called social prescribing, a way to connect people experiencing isolation, especially seniors, to community resources, programming, and other people in the same boat.
Help people to maintain their independence and stay in their own homes, but primarily focus on that connection, belonging, purpose, meaning in somebody's life.
Social prescribing has been available in Manitoba for about 2 years now. Doctors refer patients to resource coordinators in their communities who help identify wants and needs.
Find out where they're at, what it is that they need, what are they looking for, what kind of losses, transitions, changes are they experiencing.
Domingo was connected to the Transcona Council for Seniors, and she's since become a mainstay at weekly lunches and monthly dinners. And she's even started taking classes on how to cook for one.
And they were very, very good. It was very good to go to that, and then you got to eat the food after.
I'd hope so. Domingo says the program's enriched her life. She says she looks forward to activities and seeing people she now considers her friends.
You get to feeling not so alone, like that you're not on your own. It doesn't feel as bad as it did before.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Social prescribing is available in all Manitoba health regions. All you have to do is ask your doctor for a referral, or you can even refer yourself. The best way to connect with a resource coordinator is by calling 211. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. What are you tracking for us tonight, Colleen?
I know you don't want me to say it.
Oh no, snow.
Perhaps, yes. Maybe a light dusting. Let's put it that way. I know folks who are saying the Parkland region or the Interlake are like, come on, you can't be serious. Not more snow after all the snow that just fell. Well, there is a little bit more on the way. I'll show you where it started, where it is now, and when it could cross southern Manitoba. And then what comes next as we get closer to the weekend and whether or not these temperatures are going to warm back up again. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now, the sun is shining. It's -8 degrees. Those north winds have let up considerably, 14 kilometers an hour, but still producing a wind chill that makes it feel like -14. The pressure is rising and the humidity right now merely is 46%.
Thanks, Colleen. A person has died in custody at the Winnipeg Remand Center. Manitoba Justice is providing few details other than to say a 25-year-old man died yesterday. No other information about his identity, the circumstances of his death, or why he was being detained was released, citing privacy concerns. The death has been reported to the province's chief medical examiner. A number of crews responded to a fire at a high-rise in Crestview last night. It broke out around 7:30 at an apartment in the 3200 block of Silver Avenue. Smoke could be seen coming from the building. Crews were able to get it under control within about an hour. Most of the damage was contained to one suite. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A 29-year-old woman is facing several serious charges after being accused of intentionally hitting a man multiple times with a vehicle. The troubling incident happened Tuesday night on Main Street in Dauphin. Mounties say the suspect first clipped the victim with the vehicle, then hit him again when he tried to get up, and then tried to run away. She's accused of getting out of the vehicle and assaulting the man while he was on the ground. RCMP say the pair knew each other. A bystander tried to intervene and was also allegedly assaulted. Both victims were brought to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. A woman from Dauphin was arrested a few hours later. She's facing a combined 10 charges, including attempted murder, assault with a weapon, and dangerous operation of a vehicle. A new report is highlighting the experiences of children in and aging out of the child welfare system.
But at the end of the day, they never listen. They never listen to what I want. It's always, oh, we're going to put a plan into motion for you.
That failure to listen is among the gaps identified by the Youth Ambassador Advisory Squad for Manitoba's Advocate for Children and Youth. The multi-year peer-to-peer project recorded the stories of 17 participants and identified 6 main themes. Those themes are treatment and care, culturally safe care and services, learning and life skills, transitioning out of care, home, and listening. The gaps identified describe a system that often failed to protect, support, prepare, and listen.
They made it clear. An effective transition out of care requires a healthy and nourishing time in care. Being a healthy adult requires a healthy childhood.
The report concludes it's now the responsibility of policymakers, caregivers, and others to act on what was shared to reimagine the child welfare system and provide a successful transition into adulthood. Still to come tonight, an end to the war in Iran remains out of sight, meaning gas prices are once again on the rise.
Some of them are charging 40, 50, 60, 70. We even saw 80% fuel surcharge one day.
We take a look at what this means for our country's trucking industry, plus the latest on the conflict when we return. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil added more than $4. The loonie dropped to 72.23 cents U.S. Gold futures plunged $176. The TSX fell 495 points. The Dow Jones lost 469 points, while the Nasdaq closed 521 points lower. The bodies of the Air Canada crew killed in last weekend's runway crash in New York were brought home today. Mourners gathered on the tarmac at Newark Liberty International Airport for a dignified transfer back to Canada. Pilot Antoine Foray and First Officer Mackenzie Gunther died when their plane collided with a fire truck that was crossing the runway. The truck was responding to an issue with another flight. For the first time since the Cold War, Canada has hit its target of spending 2% of gross domestic product on defense, an increase which is expected to transform our armed forces. The benchmark, which was set by NATO, amounts to more than $60 billion a year. CTV's Judy Trin now on the spending milestone and what got us there.
After touring a warship, the Prime Minister announced that Canada had taken aim at a NATO target and hit its mark.
In 10 months, we have invested over $60 billion in our defense and security. And as a result of these efforts this morning, NATO confirmed that Canada has achieved its 2% defense expenditure target.
Getting from 1% to 2% has taken 12 years. Progress has been slow until Carney's investment surge in 2025. For the first time, all 32 NATO members have reached the 2% target.
For too long, European allies and Canada were over-reliant on U.S. military might.
The 2% pledge was first made in 2014. Conservative Prime Minister Stephen Harper didn't want to do it.
I'm certainly not going to spend on a massive military expansion just for the sake of doing so.
Under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, Canada was called out on the international stage.
Talk about riding on America's coattails. They have the safety and security of being on our border.
Movement didn't happen until the biggest player in the alliance uttered threats.
And they said, if you don't pay your bills, we're not going to participate, we're not going to protect you.
Canada may have spent more than $60 billion on defense in 2025, but the military is still short about 15,000 soldiers, and from jets to ships to submarines, half of the equipment isn't working.
We are still waiting for new submarines. We are still waiting for new tanks and other armored vehicles for our Army. And we are still a long way from having new warships.
The overall readiness, the ability of the military to actually conduct a military operation or go to war is at a multi-generational low point right now.
Going forward, Canada and other NATO members are committing to spending 5% of GDP on defense by 2035. For Canada, that means spending $150 billion annually. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
There are growing frustrations among Republicans tonight who say Pentagon officials won't provide details on when or how ground troops might be used in Iran or what the war has cost so far. Olivia Rubin reports.
Today, President Trump urging Iran to accept his ceasefire proposal, quote, before it's too late.
They're talking to us because they've got a disaster on their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback.
But Iranian state media reporting Iran rejected Trump's 15-point peace plan and publicly denies talks are even underway.
Who wouldn't negotiate? They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. And if they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Hormuz Strait will open up.
Meanwhile, Israel today saying it assassinated the Iranian leader controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Ali Reza Tangsiri was the head of the Iranian Navy. Iran has not confirmed the death. And deadly Iranian strikes raining down on Israel. New video showing the moment one strike blasted a residential street east of Tel Aviv. Now the Pentagon preparing to surge as many as 5,000 U.S. troops to the Middle East, some already on the way. Among them, 1,500 paratroopers from the elite 82nd Airborne Division, the Army's premier ground combat unit. But on Capitol Hill, Democrats and even some Republicans growing uneasy about the prospect of sending in combat troops.
I don't know. It could be a head fake, could not be. I just don't have that information.
And tomorrow had been the deadline that President Trump set for Iran to make a deal. Asked today if that deadline still holds, the president saying he didn't know yet, adding they still have a lot of time. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
With an end to the war still very much in question, oil prices surged again today. Since the start of the conflict, the price of diesel has jumped by more than 40%. And it's hitting the trucking industry hard, with consumers set to pay the real price. CTV's John Vinavelli-Rao reports.
For truckers across the country, as they pump pricey diesel into their trucks, the numbers are numbing to look at.
Diesel prices are going very high. It's like huge difference.
At Toronto-based CSA Transportation, they move all sorts of products from clothes to health supplements from its terminals to cities across the country and into the U.S.
Yep, these are all going to be filled up.
The VP of Operations, Rebecca Herbsch, showed us some of the trailers ready to be loaded. And with the price of diesel surging, she says the trucking companies they partner with have been charging them a lot more.
They want to raise their rates. They want a fuel surcharge. Some of them are charging 40, 50, 60, 70. We even saw 80% fuel surcharge one day.
Herbsch says after holding off, her company raised its freight rates on Monday, though hasn't yet passed on the full costs of rising fuel to customers. Still, she says if the war continues and diesel stays high, consumers will soon see the result when items hit store shelves.
It means that the cost of products is going to go up. The more that vendors have to pay us to move their goods, especially cross-border, the more that we're going to be paying for goods.
And for those truckers who pay their own fuel bills, the soaring price is hitting hard. The cost to fill up a truck like this that holds about 1,000 liters of diesel has gone up around $700 since the start of the war. Benny Puri owns 4 trucks and says his fuel costs have gone up around $4,000 a month.
Need to have prices down, man. Just give us a break.
He says his credit cards are getting maxed and wants to see governments cut taxes on diesel.
We're driving trucks. We're providing food. I work for Walmart, right? My company works for Walmart, and we deliver up north, right? So, I mean, we are struggling 24/7. If they can give us some discount on that, some relief on that, that would be great.
With those in the trucking business worried fuel prices will go even higher and warning it will show up in just about everything. John Benavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Canada could play a role in helping ships move freely through the Strait of Hormuz. That's if there's a ceasefire in the Middle East. Prime Minister Mark Carney says there are ongoing conversations with some NATO allies about Canada joining an effort to restore the movement of vessels. Iran blocked the crucial waterway in retaliation for U.S. and Israeli attacks last week. Ottawa expressed a willingness to contribute to reopening the strait. The Supreme Court of Canada hearings on Quebec's controversial Bill 21 wrapped up today. Deliberations will now begin. The federal and provincial governments were among 61 parties that submitted arguments over 4 days. The English Montreal School Board is the main appellant in the case. The 2019 Quebec law bans some public sector workers from wearing religious symbols on the job. Quebec used a provision of the Constitution, the Notwithstanding Clause, which allows governments to override the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. A bus carrying dozens of passengers has plunged into a river in Bangladesh. At least 18 people were killed. The bus went into a fast-moving river near the capital, Dhaka. Some passengers were able to swim to safety, but others were trapped inside the bus. A special rescue vessel had to be brought in to lift the bus from the water. Transgender women athletes are now excluded from the Olympics. It's a new policy that aligns with Donald Trump's executive order on women's sports. The IOC says from now on, eligibility for the Olympics or any IOC event is limited to biological females only. And athletes could be subject to genetic screening. The new policy will apply for the LA Olympics in July of 2028. Japan is preparing for a worst-case scenario in the event Mount Fuji erupts. Several agencies met to discuss possible scenarios. Government projections warn a large-scale eruption could drop 30 centimeters of ash in the surrounding area and up to 4 centimeters in the heart of Tokyo. This would cause major disruptions in the city of some 37 million people. Officials are fast-tracking security measures and designating emergency sites.
We started off by coding the Arduino, and then I did the wiring.
The kids are going to be all right. Coming up, hundreds of First Nations students show off some extraordinary inventions at a first-of-its-kind science fair here in Winnipeg.
Well, the sunshine came back today, but the temperatures, well, they did not rebound. But by the time we get to the weekend and the start of the long-range forecast, the highs and the lows will be a lot closer to normal for late March. 2 degrees Saturday and Sunday. We'll see some clearing on Saturday afternoon, so some sunshine again on Sunday. Again, 2 degrees, 0 on Monday, clouding over. There's a low chance of flurries. Flurries look a lot more likely by Tuesday, a high of +1, staying just below the freezing mark on Wednesday, -1 degree under a mix of sun and cloud, and you see those overnight lows all through the long range period, much closer to normal, minus single-digit lows.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
The next Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, or Steve Jobs could be right here in Winnipeg. Today, hundreds of students from across the province crammed into the Victoria Inn for the annual Manitoba First Nations Education Resource Centre School Science Fair. CTV's John Hendricks was there and checked out some of the amazing projects.
Some people use glass containers to store leftovers. Grade 9 student DeMarcus Belanger from Bloodvein First Nation used his to build a remotely operated underwater vehicle. It even has a built-in camera.
First started off by coding the Arduino, and then I did the wiring.
Belanger didn't just create this invention for fun. It's his entry in the annual Manitoba First Nations Education Resource Center School Science Fair.
Our students are really blending both mainstream science with traditional knowledge and culture.
The students showed off research projects that covered everything from microplastics in the environment to the growth rate of fish in the north. One team built a thermal blanket out of potato chip packages.
It's the same material used in emergency blankets, such as like mylar aligned with aluminum.
It failed me, bro. It failed me. Wait, no, it didn't.
Officials say these projects are enhancing the students' understanding of science and building their self-esteem and respect for their own culture at the same time.
It's about being confident and being a contributing citizen, especially for your community first and then to the wider society.
That is certainly DeMarcus Belanger's goal for his ROV, who says it can be used as a cheaper alternative to underwater vehicles.
I feel like everyone should know what's in our water, how much debris, what kind of aquatic life there is in the water.
And using his invention, they'll be able to find out. John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The top 4 projects will go on to the Canada-wide Science Fair. That, by the way, is being held in Edmonton in May.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady is back now with your complete Skywatch forecast and another little burst of winter before spring returns.
That's a good way. It's just a burst.
I'm looking
just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend, focusing on the good news.
Yeah, some sunshine and some temperatures back up above freezing. And I was talking about daytime highs and lows being closer to normal by the weekend and into next week. Normally by late March, we should be hitting highs closer to 3 degrees here in Winnipeg and overnight lows around -7. So we'll fall far short of that tonight and then tomorrow, but by the weekend, we'll get back on track. For the time being, the sun is still shining here in Winnipeg. Those winds, boy, were they biting today, coming out of the north under this Arctic high that has slipped in behind that low pressure system that brought all that snow to parts of southern Manitoba, including Dauphin. Not as much here to Winnipeg. Really, some areas saw a little bit, others saw considerably more than that. But guess what? There's more on the way, but just not nearly as much. But I want to just hold off on that for a moment. I'll swing to the east first into northwestern Ontario, where winds are lighter but still coming out of the north. The sky is clear. That will change to a certain extent, but this is what's headed our way. There was a little bit of an impulse, if you will, that developed over the southern Alberta foothills earlier today, and it's been tracking a little bit of light snow across Saskatchewan. So as of right now, there's a light snow shower in Regina, some light snow falling in the Yorkton area here, and it is crossing the border, or it will be very soon, into Manitoba. So it is basically just, you could call it a light dusting, if you will, of either light snow or a few flurries this evening across the southwest. Late tonight or overnight, we might see some of that move into Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, but really, as it's crossed Saskatchewan, this disturbance has been weakening. So there's not much oomph left to it now that it's in Manitoba or about to enter the province. You can see here overnight, say 1, 2 in the morning, we could see a little bit of it, but that's about it for any kind of active weather in Manitoba tonight. As we get into tomorrow morning, sunshine returns to the southwest. Here in the southeast, we might see a little bit of snowfall activity, elsewhere, central and northern parts of the province, not so much, but throughout the day, we'll see sunshine across much of the southern part of the province. And again, here and there in central and northern regions, there might be a flurry or two pop up with some clouds overnight into Saturday, but temperatures will be much milder than they are right now across the province. And you see, as we get into the afternoon there on Saturday, considerably more sunshine than in the morning. For tonight, down to -13 degrees with that chance of light snow or flurries sort of clipping by overnight. Winds out of the northwest at 15 kilometers an hour. And again, it's not a sure shot, but there's some possibility of a little bit of light snow for the morning commute. Otherwise, fairly cloudy, up 1 to -12. Winds out of the west, light 15 kilometers an hour. -6 is our high tomorrow under a mix of sun and cloud. The winds will pick up again out of the northwest at about 30 kilometers an hour. In the the northeast tonight, just a few clouds. Churchill, you see the asterisks. Temperatures rising to -22 overnight. They will be falling to -21 and -22 around the region. A slight chance of afternoon snow around the northeast tomorrow, otherwise a mix of sun and cloud. Clear to start off in the Paw and OCN. Partly cloudy overnight. The rest of the region, a few clouds. Overnight lows in the upper -teens, low -20s. Sunshine around the region tomorrow. Norway House outside chance of a little bit of snow tomorrow. Some snow passing through this evening across the southwest. Overnight lows down to -17 in Brandon. Sunny tomorrow. Highs of -6 in that area. Winnipeg in the southeast, a little bit of light snow could pass through, like I say, late tonight. Overnight lows in the mid-teens. Sunshine tomorrow. Outside chance of a little bit of morning snow. A better chance of a light dusting east of the city. And in northwestern Ontario, varying amounts of cloud tonight. Overnight lows -12, -15 degrees. And then Kenora, again, slight chance of some snow. Otherwise, you'll see some sun, -7. Dryden and Fort Francis, a little cloudier. Now, speaking of that snow that fell, Dinah sent this photo in. She'll need to get a couple of new shovels to shovel her way to her shovels that are just kind of stuck in that snow that fell there. I thought that was pretty funny. And this next photo is from Holly. Now, this gal is Natanis, and Holly said she wasn't too pleased with the new snow that fell over Winnipeg Beach, but very cute nonetheless. Send us your weather photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Gimli's Carrie Anerson is shaking up her rink days after losing to Switzerland at the World Women's Curling Championships. The team announced it's parting ways with longtime third Val Sweeting. That's her second from the left, along with coach Reid Carruthers and alternate Kristen Karwacki. Sweeting joined the team at its formation ahead of the 2018-19 season and helped it win 5 Canadian titles. Carruthers, who retired as a player earlier this year, coached Anerson's team since 2022. They won 3 of their national titles during that span. Karwacki joined in 2021 and filled in as the team's lead after Brianne Harris was handed a doping suspension in 2024. Harris was later cleared but did not rejoin the team. It's coming down to the wire for the Winnipeg Jets to land a spot in the playoffs, and the team will need to be firing on all cylinders tonight as it heads into the first of back-to-back games against the league-leading Colorado Avalanche.
When we're at our best, we clog the middle, all the way, 200 feet of the ice. We don't allow stuff to get inside. This team is really good at crossing, using the width of the ice on the attack, D being involved. There's lots of sort of reads that have to happen, but against Vegas and against Colorado last time we played them, we did a really good job of making sure we had our numbers, and if they were trying that stuff, they had to go through sticks and feet.
As head coach Scott O'Neill mentioned, the Jets are hoping for a repeat of the last time the two teams squared off 2 weeks ago, which ended in a 3-1 victory for Winnipeg. They have almost an identical record over their past 10 games, with the Avalanche going 6-3-1 to the Jets 5-3-2. And with a pair of games against the division rival defenseman, Josh Morrissey says it feels like the playoffs are already underway.
We've been trying to climb back into it, and obviously this stretch, I guess, has been our playoffs to try and get there. So I think it's much of the same for us, just the compete level and attention to detail and willingness to do all the hard things it takes this time of year. But yeah, clearly they're an amazing team, and we're not looking past tonight or this weekend, but obviously these 2 games are a huge test.
The Jets are currently 5 points out of a playoff spot and will need to hop over 3 other teams to secure the wild card. Puck drop tonight in Winnipeg goes at 7 o'clock.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
They target adolescents because they know that their brains aren't fully developed.
The fallout has been swift, and it's only just getting started. Coming up, what happens now that major social media companies have been found liable in a landmark case around youth mental health. This week's landmark social media addiction trial in California is set to unleash a flood of lawsuits aimed at big tech. A jury found Meta and YouTube purposely designed their products to hook young users and awarded millions in damages to the 20-year-old plaintiff. CTV's Heather Wright has more on what's being described as a wake-up call for the industry.
A damning verdict with global implications. A Los Angeles jury ruling Wednesday that two of the world's most popular apps, Instagram and YouTube, are deliberately addictive, designed to hook young users and keep them scrolling. Experts are calling it a big tobacco moment for big tech.
The cigarette companies, it came out, targeted young people, knowing that that's how they got their lifetime customers. And virtually the identical documents have emerged from social media companies. They target adolescents because they know that their brains aren't fully developed.
Both Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, as well as YouTube, have been ordered to pay $6 million US to the victim in this case, who says the platforms left her with body dysmorphia, depression, and suicidal thoughts. The companies plan to appeal, but the ruling is giving hope to those who have been pushing for change in how these companies operate.
We've been talking about for years the idea that consequences eventually catch up with everyone.
Frances Haugen is a former product manager at Facebook who blew the whistle on the company, saying it chooses profit over safety. With hundreds of similar cases working through the courts, Haugen says tech companies could ultimately be on the hook for billions of dollars.
I think it's going to be a wake-up call for tech companies that they need to think about their internal governance processes and make sure that they have the checks and balances in place, that they don't just go for the quick buck.
Among the lawsuits filed against tech companies is one here in Ontario, where several school boards have sued Meta, Snap, and TikTok, accusing the apps of being psychologically manipulative. While the U.S. verdict will not impact any litigation here, it is a sign, experts say, that the conversation is changing. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
An Edmonton man scheduled for a medically assisted death later this week is spending one of his last days advocating for MAID. He says he's horrified by the UCP government's proposed restrictions on MAID, saying no one can understand another person's suffering. CTV's Nicole Weisberg has his story.
October 5th, 1971 at the Royal Alexander Hospital. What time were you born?
10:10 p.m. My mom told me.
See, who knows?
A meeting between friends spent recounting and reminiscing.
I wore this hat.
It is a hat I mentioned.
I wore like red orange pants. I wore like a red shirt.
Oh my gosh, I
just
swear.
for funsies.
This is one of the last times John Maloney and Barbara Nichols will see each other. John is scheduled for a medically assisted death on Friday.
Knowing John and knowing that as he's a very organized person that way, right? There is a good possibility. A good likelihood that he would do this once he started doing the research and realized where he was at in his medical condition.
John is blind. His vision loss has been gradual due to cataracts, injury, and glaucoma.
I lost my sight totally in 2021. I was going through sight loss pretty much for my whole life. Actually, my left eye's fake. Sometimes it waters up, so sometimes you'll see me wipe it. So. Also I have what's called Charles Bonnet syndrome. Like right now I see like really weird hallucinations and they're constant. Like right now when I'm talking to you, I see all these pink floaty lights going all around.
John says the hallucinations are so distracting, it's difficult to work, sleep, even concentrate on conversations. He also has type 2 diabetes and a low thyroid. 2 years ago, he attempted suicide and was revived by paramedics.
It's not about dying, it's about ending the pain.
John then learned he may be eligible for Track 2 MAID. It started in 2021 and is open to those with severe, incurable, and intolerable conditions whose natural death is not reasonably foreseeable. John was approved last month after meeting with 3 assessors.
I saw 3 because one actually denied me, and this is why I know it's a good process because they don't automatically say yes. The other 2, though, they were like, we can't judge your quality of life. And if you don't think you have quality of life anymore, then yeah, then it makes sense.
Since then, John has been getting his affairs in order, including finding a new home for his cats and determining if he can donate his organs. Last week's news, the UCP government plans to prohibit Track 2 MAID, prompted him to share his story.
I want people to be aware of what the government is actually doing. If you have the right to choose to live, then I have the right to choose to die. right? It's about autonomy. It's about choice.
Here's Turn. Turn.
I love this song. This is the song I think I want to play at my day.
If John doesn't need to be in the hospital for his MAID procedure, he plans to do it in his favorite chair, with friends by his side. He knows what he wants for his last meal and what he wants to hear in his final moments.
I just feel like I'm going to be at peace, right? And peace is something that I've been searching for years and years and years.
Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Are you really Harry Potter?
Headed back to Hogwarts. Our first full look at Harry Potter's magical return coming up after the break.
Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting The Incline, Sweet Dreams of Patsy Cline.
A festival dedicated to the Baroque period of music is hoping to hit all of the right notes here in Winnipeg. The period, which began in the 1600s and ran through the mid-1700s, is known for its dramatic presence. The festival will feature an array of choirs, ensembles, and soloists, including Dead of Winter, Carl Staub, and the Winnipeg Baroque Brass Choir. Performances take place at the University of Manitoba and other locations across the city over multiple weeks. The festival kicks off on March 29th and runs through April 18th. For a full slate of performances, head to winnipegbaroquefestival.com. A pair of Canadian bands and a Manitoba musician will headline the main stage at a summer fair. Canadian country band The Washboard Union will return to Niverville Fair on Saturday, June 13th. They last hit the stage there in 2016. Also returning that night is Manitoba country singer Katie St. Germain. The Trews will kick things off on the main stage on the Friday. Tickets are on sale through the fair's website. The Niverville Fair runs June 12th and 13th. Well, all the Muggles are talking because the first full trailer for the upcoming Harry Potter series was just released.
Mr. Potter, I think we can expect great things from you.
The trailer gives us a look into the newest perspective of the Harry Potter universe, all the way from the closet under the stairs to the Great Hall and everything in between. One thing fans will notice right away is the musical score, which is being completely reimagined by Oscar-winning German composer Hans Zimmer. The 8-episode opening series bearing the name of the original novel, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, is set to begin streaming on HBO Max on Christmas Day. And it looks like a popular late-night host has their next gig already lined up, helping craft the next saga in Middle-earth.
And we recently took it to Richard Brenner at New Line and Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca at Warner Brothers, and I could not be happier to say that they loved it. And so that's what we're going to be working on.
Comedian Stephen Colbert is co-writing a new Lord of the Rings film. That's according to a new social media video from Colbert and franchise director Peter Jackson. Colbert is a J.R.R. Tolkien superfan, and his job at CBS is set to end in May. So he says he's been getting some advice from his son, who is a screenwriter. Deadline reports the movie's tentative title is Shadow of the Past. Your primetime lineup tonight starts with 2 episodes of Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage back-to-back at 7. Catch 911 Nashville at 8, and Grey's Anatomy is on at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Coming up, Saturn like you've never seen before. The stunning new images NASA just released and how they were captured.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
It is, well, it's starting to get a little cloudy now. It's -8 degrees. Winds out of the north at 14 kilometers an hour, giving us a wind chill that makes it feel like -14. Highest temperature of the day was the earliest one at midnight. It was -7. 1946 is how far back we have to go for the record for this day. 16.1 degrees. Chance of light snow overnight and into the commute tomorrow. Not a sure shot, but a chance. -13 overnight, -6 on Friday. We'll see more of a mix of sun and cloud for the bulk of the day. Warming up in time for the weekend merrily. 2 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. Sunshine both days. A little cloudier on Monday to start the week next week with a high of 0.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, before we leave you tonight, we have some spectacular out-of-this-world images to show you. Check these out. These are the clearest photos ever taken of Saturn. NASA says they show a level of detail never before seen and display subtle color variations. The images of the gas giant with icy rings were captured by the James Webb Space Telescope and the Hubble Space Telescope in 2024. NASA says they give scientists a richer, more layered understanding of the planet's atmosphere. They almost don't even look real.
No, I know it. Look at that.
Wow.
That's great.
Seeing things we haven't seen them before.
Oh, absolutely.
Technology. All right. That does it for us tonight. Have a great evening. We hope to see you back here tomorrow.